Okay, so we're going to work on skip counting by fives. And our question is, how can skip counting by fives help to count objects in a set? So this is similar to what we did last week when we were counting nickels. Remember when we counted nickels, we counted by fives. We're going to be doing that today. We're not counting nickels, but counting by fives. So my directions tell me to skip count by fives and write to show how many fingers. My question says, how many hands would it take to show 50 fingers? So when I am counting by fives, let's think about this. How many fingers are on one hand? 5. You have 5 fingers on one hand. So when I'm going to count by fives, what number comes first? What number comes first when I'm skip counting by fives? It would be 5. So I could say 5 and then another 5, 10. I know that 2 hands is 10 fingers. And then another 5, 15. So 5, 10, 15. Another 5 would be 20. Another 5 would be 25. And then 30. And then 35. And then 40. And then 45. And then 50. So as we're counting by fives, we are increasing by 5 each time. Just a quicker way to count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Counting by fives. So how many fingers are there on all 10 of our hands? There's 10 hands. How many fingers are there? 50. 50 fingers. On 10 hands, there would be a total of 50 fingers. And I counted that very quickly by fives. That was much faster than counting each individual finger. Counting by fives. All right, so how many sets of 5 are there in 50? How many groups? 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 groups of 5 is 50. 10 hands is 50 fingers. Okay, so let's turn our page. Here's our page. And let's see what it tells us. So it asks us to skip count the candles by fives to find how many. And our little air bubble thing says, how many are you counting each time? So how many candles are on each candlestick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my first set has 5. I'm going to start with 5 when I'm counting by fives. What number comes next when I'm skip counting by 10? And then I'm going to increase each time. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So count with me. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. As I'm skip counting by fives, I increased 5 each time. It was a quicker way to count all of these candles instead of just counting them by ones. So how many candles did we count? We counted 60 total candles. All right, so let's keep going. So number 1 tells us skip count. Count the petals on the flowers by fives. Write how many. So each petal or each flower has 5 petals. Instead of counting these all by ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Instead of doing that, I can count by fives. I would start with the number 5 and then 10. Do this with me. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. How many petals are there on all of these flowers? 100. There are 100 petals. Counting by fives, which was much faster than counting by ones for all of these petals. That would have taken me much longer. All right. Number 2, skip count. Write how many. All right, so how many are in each row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means we're going to count by fives. We're going to skip count by fives. I'm increasing by 5 each time. So I would say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75. There are 75 tennis balls. That was much faster than counting them by ones. Putting them into groups of 5 helped me count in a faster way. And let's see, number 3. So this time, we're not just counting stars, we're going to count the points on the star. So each star has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll count them by fives to find out how many points there are on all of these stars. So I could say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65. There's a total of 65 points on all of these stars. That was much faster than counting each point by 1. That would take us a very long time. Counting by the fives made it much faster. All right, I would like you to pause this video and watch your math on the spot if you have not, and then come back and we can keep going. So my directions tell us to use skip counting by fives to solve. Write or draw to explain. There are 5 arms on each starfish. How many arms are on 22 starfish? So one way to do this would be to draw your 22 starfish, right? We could draw 22 starfish. Or maybe you want to just draw, maybe you want to draw 22 lines and you want to just fill in your numbers as you're doing that. That might be a lot faster than drawing the 22 starfish. You could do it like this. So I'm just going to draw little circles. And each one of my circles is going to represent a starfish, okay? Even though it's not in the shape of a star, each one is going to represent a starfish. So I'm going to draw 22 of them. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22. So there's my 22 quick starfish. I know that each starfish has 5 arms, and I'm trying to find out how many arms they all have. So I would count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, 110. Those 22 starfish have 110 arms. That's a lot of starfish arms. Okay, in our next one, Emma saves 5 cents a day. How many cents does she have in 1 week? So before we can count by fives, we need to know how many days are in a week. Well, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a week. And she earns 5 cents, that's a nickel, every day. She saves it. How much will she have in the end? So I can count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. At the end of the week, she will have 35 cents. She'll have 7 nickels. All right, so let's look at our multiple choice. We're going to choose the correct answer. Jake's farm has 10 ponds. Each pond has 5 fish. How many fish are on Jake's farm? Skip count by fives. Okay, so he has 10 ponds. So I could draw 10 ponds. There's his 10 ponds. Each one has 5 fish. So I could skip count to find the total number of fish on his farm. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. He has 50 fish. 50 fish on his farm. So I would fill that in. Remember, we're increasing by fives when we skip count by fives. Number 7, Gary likes to count his puzzle pieces by fives. Which numbers complete the skip count by fives sequence? You could also look at, this one have a chart? Didn't. So this, you could also look at a hundreds chart to help, or a 120s chart to help you solve this problem, if you have one. Everyone should have one in their white binder. But basically, I'm going to increase by 5 each time. So 95, 105. I need the number in between there. It's going to be 5 more, 5 less. That would be 100. 95, 100, 105, 110. What's 5 more? 115. So 5, 10, 15. 115. All right, number 8. Jenna collects baseball cards. She groups them in fives and puts 2 groups in one stack. Jenna has 10 stacks of cards. How many cards does Jenna have? All right, so she puts 2 groups into one stack. That means in each stack, she would have 10 cards, right? Because they're in groups of 5, but it's 2 groups in one stack. 5 and 5 is 10, and she has 10 stacks. So she has 10 stacks. There's her 10 stacks. So we're going to say, instead of counting by fives, we'll count by tens because each stack has 10 cards in it. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. She has 100 cards. Which number comes after 95 when skip counting by fives? So 95. 5 more would be 100. All right, I want you to do front and back of your yellow homework page and attach it to Google Classroom.